ويا بني هذه غزة فيها الهم والعزة.
يا بني هذه غزة غزة بتروي عن حالها فيها الهم والعزة منصورة بعز الرجال.
يا بني هذه غزة غزة بتروي عن حالها فيها الهم والعزة منصورة بعز الرجال.
تحكي لك أحلى شعر
شو اللي جرى وشو اللي صار،
تحكي لك أحلى شعر
شو اللي جرى وشو اللي صار
من موج البحر الهدار.
A blinding flash of white light lit up the sky over Gaza tonight. People running for cover, not knowing whether they're dead or alive. They came with their tanks and their planes, with ravaging fiery flames, and nothing remains, just a voice rising up in the smoky haze. We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. Women and children alike murdered and massacred night after night, while the so-called leaders of countries afar debated on who's wrong or right. But their powerless words were in vain, and the bombs fell down like acid rain. But through the tears and the blood and the pain, you can still hear that voice through the smoky haze. We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in Gaza tonight. We will not go down in the night without a fight. You can burn up our mosques and our homes and our schools, but our spirit will never die. We will not go down in the night without a fight. We will not go down in Gaza tonight.
This year, February the 14th is not just another greetings card holiday. It's your chance to really make a difference to the people of Gaza via a new initiative called Viva Palestina. Here's the founder, George Galloway, to explain more.
On Valentine's Day, 14th of February, the biggest convoy ever to leave Britain for the Middle East will set off here from Westminster all the way to Gaza with love. We'll be carrying all kinds of aid to the suffering people of Palestine. 61,000 families whose homes have been destroyed and who are living amongst the rubble, in rags, in cold, in hunger. We'll be led by a British fire engine, by the best part of a dozen ambulances, trucks and vans, even a boat for the fishermen in Gaza. And people from all over Britain are fundraising for this and organising vehicles for this, and fundraising events are taking place everywhere.
At a parliamentary building on the embankment in London, organisers and volunteers from all over the country met to discuss the journey in more detail. Mr. Galloway will lead the aid convoy on its 5,000-mile journey from Westminster through France, Spain, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya and Egypt, crossing the border at Rafah into Gaza sometime at the beginning of March. I asked some of the attendees why they decided to join this bold initiative.
Because I've seen on the telly all the images of the death and the destruction. I've seen how hard it is for aid to actually get through into Gaza, and it's time that I didn't just watch it, that I tried to help out and do something.
And it is a good initiative that it's been, proposed and started by people who are not Muslim or not Arabs, and it is our, opportunity to get share of this responsibility and, with the right mission in the right place in the right time. And it is the right time for us to get involved, hopefully. And Allah will look after us, inshallah.
So what about the solidarity of all the people from all over the UK, and even people we've never met before, we just got a number and a name, actually come together so well, it's unbelievable.
Naturally, there are questions about the feasibility of such an ambitious project, especially with regard to travelling through so many tightly controlled borders. On this subject, Mr. Galloway had the following to say.
Her Britannic Majesty's Secretary of State requests and requires, in the name of Her Majesty, all those whom it may concern, to allow the bearer to pass freely, without let or hindrance, and to afford the bearer such assistance and protection as may be necessary. We intend to hold Her Majesty, and in particular Her Secretary of State, to that promise. So we will be requiring of the British Foreign Office and Her Majesty's ambassadors in the countries through which we pass to afford us every assistance. And I have no reason at this stage to doubt that that will be so. If this convoy is as big as it now looks, if the momentum behind the fundraising and so on continues, no Member of Parliament will want to have their constituent from Bolton or Bradford or Birmingham or Leicester stuck on the border at Rafah and the British government not doing anything about it. Not with an election coming up soon. So, trust me, momentum is everything. Size, momentum, coverage, all means power. And that power will hopefully make these gates open. And I'm perfectly convinced that they will. I really want to reach Gaza with 100 vehicles and £1 million worth of aid. And we're not there yet. We're in sight of it, but we're not there yet.
Find more information about how you can support the convoy at Viva Palestine.
Vehicles was waved off by crowds of well-wishers in London as it began its long and hard humanitarian mission to carry aid by road to the Gaza Strip. The scale of the effort is hard to comprehend from the ground, but the organisers claims that the convoy is more than a mile long, ran true when it took over an hour for all the vehicles to leave London's Hyde Park. And today they covered more than 800 kilometres as they drove from the coast of Belgium to the city of Bordeaux in southern France. But although morale is high, the convoy has already faced significant problems. Last night, organisers reacted angrily to the detention of a number of convoy members. 9 men, including convoy drivers, were held by British police under the Terrorism Act while they travelled on the motorway yesterday, before they'd even reached the starting point in London, while another 6 were kept behind for questioning as the convoy crossed by ferry to Belgium. Police have already cleared several of the men of any wrongdoing and have said they are free to rejoin the aid mission. At least 3 are still being questioned, but the convoy's organisers are confident that they too will also have their names cleared.
If they're released, as the 6 have been released, then everybody has to ask themselves the question, why were 9 boys taking aid, medical aid, clothes, blankets to the people of Gaza, smeared as terrorists?
But despite the issues and problems, spirits have generally remained high so far. And here in a suburb to the south of Bordeaux, the local government is providing facilities for the almost 300 drivers and passengers on the vehicles before they proceed further south in the morning. From here, the convoy will set off for the Spanish port city of San Sebastian and then on to the Spanish capital of Madrid, where it will receive a state-sponsored welcome. But this is considered the easy part of the route, and it's when the convoy hits North Africa where the real challenges for the drivers and their vehicles will set in.
Viva Palestine aid convoy is crossing the Algerian territory after travelling through some other countries on the way. The aid convoy arrived last night at the coastal city of Tipaza, about 100 kilometers west of Algiers, after a long and tiresome journey as the convoy members are showing a deal of courage and enthusiasm due to their noble mission.
The journey into Algeria was long and very hard and difficult, and people were driving for many, many hours. But we were really uplifted and re-energized by the ordinary Algerian people who came out to meet us, to give us their salams. They lined the streets of every village and town and hamlet.
The journey has had its ups and downs. Of course, it's very difficult logistically to organise this with 100 vehicles. We're going across borders which, like the Moroccan-Algerian border, which haven't been open for a significant length of time. But on the whole, the people who are part of the convoy have dealt with the situation very well.
The convoy was organised by a UK-based umbrella named Viva Palestina and comprises 99 vehicles, including 12 ambulances carrying medicine, clothes, blankets and other foodstuffs. But the organisers say the load is not sufficient.
It's not enough. We need these convoys coming from all countries. And if convoys come from all countries to Rafah, there is no more siege. The siege is broken. And this is what the Palestinian people need.
After arresting Tipaza, the convoy will move to the eastern provinces en route to Gaza, the final stage of this British humanitarian convoy. All members of the Viva Palestina convoy are running against the clock to reach Gaza and bring help to the besieged people there.
They weren't quite sure what to expect when they boarded the ferry from Spain to Morocco early on Wednesday morning. In diplomatic terms, the ride had been relatively smooth through France and Spain, and although they were told to prepare for a massive welcome, there were questions among some over how the government would react to a collective with such wide-ranging political backgrounds. But upon arrival, there was indeed a warm welcome from the police and government officials, and the media was out in force, unlike during the previous stops throughout mainland Europe.
I feel great. It's, I think every step of the way that we've had difficulty, I feel really good about it. I feel very good that we've arrived.
But the joy was soon soured for some, as the convoy carrying medicine and aid for the people of Gaza was checked vehicle by vehicle by a pack of sniffer dogs, then driven through a large X-ray device and given another thorough security check. One driver was even detained before he could leave the ferry.
It was the security was very heavy. Basically, they detained me for about an hour and a half. At first, they didn't say what I was detained for. I sat there for about an hour, and while they verified some checks, and before the checks were sort of like finalised, and they allowed me to leave. And basically, they've got a lot of security, and I think a lot of people were intimidated by it, really.
Although the police were polite and civil, the process delayed the convoy's departure from the port of Tangier. There was also some disappointment when it was revealed that the government was cancelling a major rally in the historic city of Casablanca, where more than 100,000 well-wishers were expected. The reason why remains unclear, but nonetheless convoy leaders were positive about the road ahead.
It's unfortunate that our planned events in Casablanca, which is a huge city with millions of citizens, has been cancelled for internal reasons, reasons of state. The Moroccan government has agreed to lift the border between Morocco and Algeria, and this shows that Palestine can be a passport to Arab unity.
By the time the convoy reached the streets of Tangier, it was obvious that the Moroccan people had a huge amount of support for the Gaza mission. Despite the problems along the way and doubts over how the convoy will be received across North Africa, the mission to Gaza has now landed in Morocco, albeit with a cautious welcome from the government. Now the hopes of hundreds of thousands from cities across the UK rest on the shoulders of the drivers of these vehicles, who have a difficult task ahead. Hassan Ghani, Press TV, Morocco.
أؤكد لكم أن السيد جورج جالوي سيعود إلى الالتحاق بهذه القافلة، وهو قادم على الطائرة التي تأتي من بريطانيا من لندن يوم الأحد القادم إلى العاصمة الجزائر. نعم يوم السبت.
convoy members was mixed. Some remained disappointed over the cancellation of the major rallies that were due in the cities of Casablanca and Rabat, and the fact that the convoy got very few chances to interact with the wider public. But others welcomed the hospitality laid out by the Moroccan government and say the police provided a huge amount of support to the convoy as it traversed the kingdom's highways.
The whole Moroccan government has been looking after us very well, and we're very much satisfied from what they've provided with hotels and especially the police convoy.
And on Friday night the convoy snaked towards the border with Algeria in a 1.5 mile long column, with the Moroccan people once again lining the streets to show their support and bid it farewell. In the morning the drivers were prepared for the next leg of the journey. We are here with the convoy as it waits to cross the Moroccan-Algerian border. The governments have made a special exception in this case, as no traffic has passed through here since 1994 due to a diplomatic standoff. Even previous efforts by the US government have failed to reconcile the two. There was no doubt a sense of uncertainty over whether the promise to let the aid convoy through would materialize, but it did. And history was made as the first vehicles crossed the border in 15 years to the cries of joy from the Algerian public. Despite the efforts of the Algerian police to restrain onlookers, they flooded past the security forces, and there were tearful scenes as the convoy volunteers and Algerians were united in a common cause.
When we crossed the border, we didn't expect what happened. I mean, the public was amazing. They just ran through the police, which I couldn't believe that they actually did. Chanting, screaming, waving flags. Some people were in tears. They obviously know what we're here for. They were totally supportive as well, which was amazing for us to see as well. And it actually opens our hearts more as well and makes us feel that, we are really welcomed in Algeria, because I didn't know, what's going to happen when we cross this border.
The mission is being considered a success so far. The convoy now has to make it through the vast expanses of Algeria, Tunisia and Egypt before it attempts to cross the Rafah border into the Gaza Strip. And today it came one step closer to that objective. Hassan Ghani, Press TV.
The convoy of humanitarian aid for the people of the besieged Gaza has now arrived in Morocco, on the border of Morocco from Spain. We are joined by our correspondent Yvonne Ridley for an update. Now, Yvonne, we spoke to you when you were in France last night, when you were in Madrid, and now you're on the border with Morocco. Give us an update on your journey so far.
Yes, that's right. I'm here in Port Tarifa on a bitterly cold morning. It's about 6:30 here, and it really is very, very cold. As you can see behind me, most of the vehicles for Viva Palestina convoy have gathered to get the ferry to Tangiers in Morocco. We're missing a few vehicles, and there are frantic calls now to find out where they are. The convoy has suffered a few breakdowns, and we've had some dramatic tales of daring do as trucks and ambulances have broken down, but it has been a very challenging trip. Most of us have driven through the night from Madrid, which is why we're all bleary-eyed, but spirits are still very, very high. And about an hour ago I had a chance to look around at the contents of some of the vehicles, and one from Oldham and Rochdale in Lancashire really caught my eye, and I don't know if the camera can look at it. It's a little shoebox, and there are 50 of these shoeboxes from the children of Rochdale, who have packed in messages and gifts to the children of Gaza, and they've been the little jewellery and letters, and they're hoping to establish pen pals and links to the children of Gaza. The school that was involved in the project from Rochdale was told by a child psychiatrist that this is the sort of thing that children in Gaza will need to try and take their minds off the recent traumas of the war and the devastation which is around them. So these little boxes of love from children to children, very, very moving. And each truck in the convoy has equally meaningful, poignant gifts to the people of Gaza. We're already getting messages from people in Gaza who are very, very excited about the convoy. News is sweeping right across the Middle East about this magnificent convoy.
Vehicles was waved off by crowds of well-wishers in London as it began its long and hard humanitarian mission to carry aid by road to the Gaza Strip. The scale of the effort is hard to comprehend from the ground, but the organisers claims that the convoy is more than a mile long, ran true when it took over an hour for all the vehicles to leave London's Hyde Park. And today they covered more than 800 kilometres as they drove from the coast of Belgium to the city of Bordeaux in southern France. But although morale is high, the convoy has already faced significant problems. Last night, organisers reacted angrily to the detention of a number of convoy members. 9 men, including convoy drivers, were held by British police under the Terrorism Act while they travelled on the motorway yesterday, before they'd even reached the starting point in London, while another 6 were kept behind for questioning as the convoy crossed by ferry to Belgium. Police have already cleared several of the men of any wrongdoing and have said they are free to rejoin the aid mission. At least 3 are still being questioned, but the convoy's organisers are confident that they too will also have their names cleared.
If they're released, as the 6 have been released, then everybody has to ask themselves the question, why were 9 boys taking aid, medical aid, clothes, blankets to the people of Gaza, smeared as terrorists?
But despite the issues and problems, spirits have generally remained high so far. And here in a suburb to the south of Bordeaux, the local government is providing facilities for the almost 300 drivers and passengers on the vehicles before they proceed further south in the morning. From here, the convoy will set off for the Spanish port city of San Sebastian and then on to the Spanish capital of Madrid, where it will receive a state-sponsored welcome. But this is considered the easy part of the route, and it's when the convoy hits North Africa where the real challenges for the drivers and their vehicles will set in.
The size of this convoy and the amount of aid it is carrying have exceeded all expectations. Over 100 vehicles, including 12 ambulances, a boat and a fire engine, set off from London on Saturday morning, carrying £1 million worth of aid.
I'm very proud actually of the great effort that has been made by all my friends. I had the idea, I've used my voice, but they're the ones who have done the organising and done the practical things, and look at the result. This is a joy to behold.
It's going to be tough. I have no idea where I'm going to sleep. I've got a sleeping bag and everybody is in the same situation.
Press TV's George Galloway and Yvonne Ridley will travel with hundreds of other volunteers on the 5,000 miles through Western Europe and North Africa before finally crossing into Gaza at Egypt's Rafah crossing in early March. It's quite historic, really, because there are borders between countries in North Africa that haven't been opened in years, and on this occasion, those borders will be open to let that convoy through, and then closed up again. So, it's been a considerable amount of coordination that has gone into this. Much of the aid consists of medicine, tools, blankets, and toys. They were donated by ordinary Britons. Some believe the convoy's symbolism is as important as the aid it's carrying.
I actually think the UN distribute aid better than we will, but I think that they need to know that people care and want to go, want to make this journey. I think it matters a lot.
This young man purchased a van especially for this historic journey. He is joined by his best friend from Blackburn, Northern England.
We financed ourselves. We've just been collecting donations and aid and medicines, etc., for the people of Gaza.
Young men like him were seen off by families, anxious for their safety, but immensely proud, as his elderly mother and her daughter-in-law told Press TV.
I'm worrying for him, and also I'm happy that he can help some Gaza people. I'm happy also, and I'm missing it also.
Once the convoy reaches Gaza, most of the 110 vehicles will be left behind as a gift for the local population. The British volunteers, well, they will fly home, most likely.
Society, brothers and sisters,
والسلام عليكم. السلام عليكم أيها الإخوة والأخوات. السلام عليكم أيها المناضلين. السلام عليكم يا أبناء المغرب. Overwhelmed by the warmth of the reception from the port of Tangier through the streets of the international port city to now outside the Parliament building in Rabat. إن العواطف التي أظهرتموها لنا منذ وصولنا إلى ميناء طنجة ثم مرورنا في الطريق. I must hope that this example will open all the doors all the way to Rafah and into Palestine. Allahu Akbar! تكبير! إن هذا دليل على أن فلسطين هي مفتاح القلوب وهي مفتاح الحدود وهي المفتاح الذي سيفتح الطريق بين الشعب العربي من أقصاه إلى أقصاه، ونأمل أن يكون هذا المفتاح متوافرا لدينا للدخول إلى غزة من رفح. We have arrived for our first steps on the Arab soil with our caravan in the country, Morocco, which for Iraq and for Palestine rose in their millions in support. لقد وصلنا إلى المغرب، وهذا الدخول إلى المغرب دليل على أن المغرب فتحت قلبها لكل قضايانا بالنسبة إلى العراق وبالنسبة إلى فلسطين وبالنسبة إلى قضايا الأمة جميعا. 10 years before Sabah and I, Dr. Khaled Sufyani and others here took a red London bus from Big Ben to Baghdad, and we arrived in Tangier. We came to Rabat, we went to Casablanca, we went to Fez. We were received by the Moroccan people every step of the way, and I hope that the same will be true with our caravan for Palestine. قبل 10 سنوات من الآن أنا والأخ صباح والدكتور خالد السفياني وعدد كبير من المناضلين أخذنا سيارة باص حمراء من بيج بن وهي الساعة الشهيرة في البرلمان البريطاني إلى بغداد، ووصلنا إلى ميناء طنجة، ثم بعد ذلك الرباط، فالدار البيضاء، ففاس ومكناس إلى الحدود الجزائرية. وقد استقبلنا الشعب المغربي قلبا وروحا، استقبلنا الناس بقلوبهم. نأمل أن يتكرر الشيء نفسه هذه المرة من أجل فلسطين. Today we arrived with more than 100 fire engines, ambulances, trucks, lorries, vans, loaded with all the things that are desperately needed by the people of Palestine, who this night, this cold night in Palestine, have no homes, no clothes, no food, no medicine, no nothing, because of the siege by the Zionist occupiers of their country. لقد وصلنا إلى المغرب على رأس قافلة تضم 100 سيارة أطفاء وإسعاف وشاحنات وباصات ولوريات محملة بالبضائع ومحملة بالمواد الغذائية ومحملة باحتياجات الفلسطينيين. الهدف منها هو إيصال هذا الدعم إلى أهلنا في فلسطين الذين يعانون في هذه الأيام من الشتاء البارد في فلسطين، من عدم وجود الطعام ولا الغذاء ولا الدواء ولا الملابس ولا السكن. يعانون معاناة كبيرة نتيجة للحصار الإجرامي الذي تمارسه الصهيونية الإسرائيلية والعالمية على فلسطين. As well as our 110 vehicles, we are more than 300 people
from all the cities and towns of Britain. And we want to send the message to the world that Tony Blair does not speak for us. هذه القافلة التي تضم 100 شاحنة وسيارة وعربة تضم أيضا 300 شخص قدموا من كافة المدن البريطانية من الشمال إلى الجنوب، لأننا نريد أن نرسل إلى العالم رسالة أن توني بلير لا يمثل البريطانية، نحن الذين نمثل بريطانيا. الله أكبر! We are carrying the hopes of millions of British people, and I know that we are carrying the hopes and the dreams of a free, Arab, dignified Palestine from 300 million Arabs, from Marrakesh to Bahrain, from the ocean to the Gulf. شعب عربي واحد واحد واحد. تكبير تكبير. إننا نحمل آمال وأحلام الملايين في بريطانيا، ونحن على ثقة بأن هذه الأحلام والآمال هي نفسها التي يحملها 300 مليون عربي من المحيط إلى الخليج، من مراكش إلى البحرين. شعب عربي واحد. عربي واحد في بلادك. About the two scales which are used to weigh the same events. And we have seen this all over again during the 22-day war against Gaza. This was the first war in history where the people were locked in a cage, and the people who locked them in the cage then bombarded them with illegal weapons, day and night, massacring thousands of people, wounding thousands of people, and rendering homeless hundreds of thousands of people. This is a great crime which the whole world must condemn. لقد استمعنا من المتحدث الأخير عن المعايير المزدوجة، وأود أن أؤكد لكم أن هذه هي المرة الأولى في التاريخ الحديث الذي يجري
Yeah, go on in. I'll put it on YouTube later.
Okay, that's fine.
الشامي.
We didn't get enough chairs this night to sort that out, so I'll really stand and let you take a moment with them.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I am Palestinian. I am from Gaza. I was born in a poor refugee camp in Khan Yunis. So when bombing started, I know the effect of these poor houses, which used by the Israelis. They used bombs with 2 tons, 2,000 kilograms, which make any building flat in a few seconds. But we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that people of Gaza will get victory, inshallah. Before talking about Interpal, I would like to mention a few points about the nature of life in Gaza. Number 1, any explosion happen in any city in the world, people escape on that direction. Except in Gaza. Any explosion, it attracts people to come to help the injured people. And that means these people are very, very brave. They know that maybe died in a few seconds, but even that they are coming to help the others. Number 2, after 22 days, people of Gaza didn't starve. I mean, they didn't feel hunger because they lived in a cooperation. Anyone had food, they gave it to the neighbors. If I need sugar, I asked my neighbor, and my neighbor asked me to give him a flour. And after 23 days, alhamdulillah, people lived as one family. Number 3, always if there is any war, you find a lot of troubles, lot of conflicts, people fighting each other, except in Gaza. 23 days, people lived in safety. Even in the queues in front of the bakeries, sometimes 1 kilometer the queue, and people respect each other. Did you see anyone fighting for the bread? Never. It is only in Gaza as well. And number 5, that the people lived in safety. There is no any single incident, thieves or attacking houses or trying to do anything against the law. Even there is no government. Only it happened in Gaza. The last point, we are not talking about very poor country in Africa or anywhere else who only need some food and that's it. People in Gaza is the highest level of education in Gaza. And they are very educated. Number of PhD and master degrees is more than the Israelis. And the people and the Israelis knows that. So as Mr. Galawi said yesterday, when we are looking to support people in Gaza, we are not talking about some milk or some bread. We are talking about laptops, we are talking about pens, we are talking about papers, we are talking about everything. Now about Interpal, it is the British charity, established 1994. It was the first charity succeed to send 16 trucks of medical supplies, 3rd day of bombing, and by the help of the Arab Medical Association in Egypt. Many thanks to the Arab Medical Association in Egypt. In 24 hours they prepared, but the Egyptian regime stopped it on the borders. But after 3 days they passed, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All the charities working very well. I appreciate every single charity, not only Interpal, Islamic Relief, Yom Appeal, Muslim Aid, Muslim Hands, Islamic Relief, and all of them worked for the people in Palestine. And I would like to thank everyone who donated even £1. The figures will give you some idea. 25,000 houses demolished, partially or completely. That means tens of thousands of families now homeless. They are living in schools, in mosques, or with their relatives. The urgent project now is the tents. And Mr. Galloway with the convoy, he will tell you about it. He tried to, all of us will try to send many tents enough for these people as shelters. The other thing is food. People now suffering of shortage of food because the Israelis closed 8 gates, or we call it in Arabic Ma'bar, around Gaza, and the only one is open partially is Ma'bar Rafah between Egypt and Gaza, and is opening light again. One open and 5 times closed, and people are suffering, but we hope that all this situation, inshallah, will be changed to the good. A few stories about what happened in Gaza. Al Jazeera a few days ago made an interview with a little girl called Dalal. And now a story of Dalal in the YouTube. You can see it. This little girl, about 11 years old, before the bombing, she went to visit her grandmother, and bombing started, and after 22 days, she discovered that her father, mother, brothers, sister, all of them gone. And she said to Al Jazeera, what I did for Israelis. I became orphan for nothing. But we say, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give her sabr, and all of us will be fathers and mothers for Dalal. The other story that Abdullah, and because the Israelis stopped to provide Gaza with fuel, and in this cold weather, imagine that there is no petrol, there is no diesel, there is no electricity, there is no coal, there is no wood. People lived in very bad situation. And people who live in city of Gaza, they can't, as my mother, she can't prepare bread at home in refugee camp, she can't do it. But people who are living in flats, they can't do. And she asked her husband to bring some food. And her husband said to her, if I am going alone, maybe waiting for a few hours, I can't get some food, bread. So he took his 3 children, and with intention to send them to different bakers. And maybe one of the 4 can get some bread. But as they left the house, F-16 made in USA, bombed them. 4 of them killed, and the lady waiting the bread. Up to now, no bread, and no husband, and no sons for her. And this is just samples of the stories. After the war finished, lot of crises, thousands of stories we will discover. Up to now, they still find bodies under the rubble. But after that, wallahi, I give qasam, swearing, when I found my friends or family, their soul is very, very high. Their spirit is very strong. And they say, Nasr inshallah, we will give Nasr against the terrorists. We are never against the Jews. We lived with them. My father's GP, because originally my father from Palestine itself, south of Tel Aviv. The GP of my family, he was a Jew, and we lived together for long, or hundreds of years. But we are against the Zionists who made these crimes against the humanity, not against the Palestinians only. I would like to thank all the people who supporting Palestine, especially respect Palestine's solidarity campaign, stop the war, and all the people who love Palestine. Finally, subhanAllah, I think always that Palestine long time ago belongs to Palestinians only. Then it belongs to Arabs. Then belongs to the Muslims. Now I feel that it belongs to everyone in the world who will.
Palestine now. I am against the war. And we just want to say stop to Israel.
It's wrong what they're doing, killing, massacring people.
Because what's happening is so wrong. You've got to stand up at some point.
Why am I here? Do you know what's happening there? This is why we're here.
Because I don't want people to kill kids.
carrying this just to represent the children that are dying in Gaza.
Especially the children lately being killed. It's just disgusting what's happening over there.
They are killing children. That's not. They are killing civilians. They have not killed any Hamas soldiers.
Because of the children who are being murdered.
But basically, when children are dying, we have to do something, and it breaks my heart.
I've come for the mothers in Palestine. I've come for the mothers in Gaza.
It's an outrage that the world's governments are not standing up and making Israel stop their actions in Gaza.
I'm a Jew, and I'm ashamed of being a Jew because of the Israeli government's Zionist position.
As a survivor of genocide, I speak against Israel killing people in Gaza.
Because we want to stand up for the Palestinian people against Israeli terror.
To support my brothers who have been oppressed all over the world.
I think what Israel are doing is disgusting.
To protest about the Zionist invasion and occupation and the death of children.
Zionists have to stop Holocaust of Palestinian people.
Because Israel is committing war crimes.
Barbaric slaughter.
Zionists are murdering Palestinians. Israel is bad country.
There's nothing more anti-Semitic than Zionism, man. That's all you need to know.
Why do we I have to help Palestine.
To protest against Israel invading Gaza.
Because this killing has got to stop, because the oppression of the Palestinian people is totally unacceptable.
To support Palestine. Support the Palestinians.
You make us sick, Israel. You make us sick.
In order to protest against the barbaric massacre that has taken place in Gaza. As a Jew, I'm totally appalled and ashamed by it, and want to speak out with others against this carnage.
Because I'm against war. Looks like Israel should be out of Gaza.
Free Palestine, simple.
To ask Israel to get out of Gaza and stop the violence.
Help stop the war.
Because I want to support Gaza.
The sniper bullets are hitting children.
Because we support Palestine.
To oppose the illegal occupation of Gaza and the atrocities the IDF are committing.
Stop killing innocent people. Because we're standing up for the Palestinians to let them know that we care about what's happening.
To show the anger against the genocide in Gaza.
Show solidarity with the people of Gaza and condemn Israel's murder.
Free Palestinians from the massacre that's taking place right now in Gaza.
To support this march.
We have to support Palestinians. Because I want to protest against what's going on in Palestine.
I'm here to show solidarity with the Palestinian people over the siege of Gaza.
Because of the Israeli invasion of Gaza.
To free Palestine.
Like she is.
Because I'm sick to death of war and I'm sick to death of the oppression of all people around the world.
I come to support the Palestinian people.
To show solidarity with the Palestinians and the defenders of Gaza.
Free Palestine.
To support the people of Palestine in Gaza.
Because Israel was bombing Gaza.
Well, I'm here today because I'm horrified by what's happening in Gaza, especially the deaths of innocent children.
Because I want to support the Palestinians.
To stop the killing in Gaza.
Against Israel bombing.
Freedom for Palestine.
For justice.
To stop the war.
I hate the killing of children.
To support Palestine, but to tell the whole world that they are not alone.
Because what's happening in Gaza is unjust, it's against international law, it's collective punishment, it's a massacre, and I'm here to show solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters and with all the oppressed people of the world.
To support the people of Palestine.
Supporting the people of Palestine and the Muslims all over the world. To support the families and people in Gaza.
Families, people and the children in Gaza too.
Because I disapprove of the slaughter that's going on.
I'm here to protest against the Israeli invasion of Gaza.
Today for the march.
I came here to support Palestine and stop the killing.
Bombing and killing innocent civilians is always wrong, no matter what. To support Palestine.
I disapprove wholeheartedly of what the international community is allowing to happen to Gaza and Palestine generally.
I disagree with the war.
Because I want to support Gaza and so that they could have food and water.
To demand that Israel retreats from Gaza.
Because we are so angry and upset at the way the people in Gaza are being treated by the Israeli government.
Oh, demonstrate. Have to be one more. The killing of innocent people. Protest against Israel's occupation and persecution of Palestine.
Please stop killing innocent women and children.
What Israel's doing is totally outrageous, unbelievably outrageous.
Because I don't think war is right in any circumstance. I'm here because I'm so furious about what's happening in Gaza. And I can't believe that the Israelis, with the tanks, the helicopter gunships, the atom bomb, that they still think that they're the victims. It baffles me. I'm here because I'm horrified about
about what's happening in Gaza. And I'm also Jewish, but I still hate what the Israeli state are doing.
I'm here today because I'm so angry at what I've seen on the television over the last couple of weeks.
Because I believe that it's dreadful that the Israelis are firing at innocent women and children in Gaza, and I think that Palestine ought to belong to the Palestinians, and they are committing atrocities all the time. It's just coming to the public eye now, but they have been doing it for ages.
Against the war in Palestine.
We're here to demonstrate against Israel's attack on innocent people.
In solidarity with the Palestinians.
We're hoping they'll actually knock some sense in their head and free Palestine.
We're here because we're sick of the oppression of the people of Gaza, for Israel.
Because I'm Jewish and I'm opposed to the Israeli bombing of the Gaza.
I'm absolutely shocked by the suffering that's going on in Gaza.
I'm here as a teacher and as a human being to express solidarity with Palestinian people.
Because I'm very angry about what's happening in Gaza, and I think it's criminal, and I think they must stop. They're out of the law entirely.
Because I'm appalled by what's happening in Gaza. I can't believe the murder, the brutality and the destruction of a whole population.
I'm sick and disgusted at my government's support of the butchery, the blitzkrieg that's going on in Gaza. I'm here to show my solidarity with Gaza and all Palestinians.
Well, obviously because of the Israeli attack and massacre in Gaza, but I'm also protesting against the policy of our government, which is supporting the Americans and the Israelis in reality by keeping silent about the massacre. So I'm absolutely outraged by this, and I think Gordon Brown should be ashamed.
I'm very distressed that my own government isn't speaking out enough about the injustice and the violence.
Protest against the atrocity that's happening in Gaza.
Violence doesn't answer anything.
Sense of disgust at what the British government is doing in terms of acquiescing with Israel.
Innocent children being killed, going to school, getting attacked up there.
And also to condemn the massacre in Gaza.
We're supporting the Palestinians that are dying every single day around here in Gaza.
Because Israel, are an occupying force in Palestine and they should leave.
We're against the war.
Zindabat Palestine! Free Palestine!
Well, to support Palestine.
To tell the Arab leaders that Palestine will never die.
Obviously protesting against Israel's military action in Gaza. And that London has shown proud the Palestinians today because we're coming here all in solidarity with our Palestinian brothers and sisters who are being slaughtered in Gaza.
Just to express our anger and sadness about what's going on in Gaza. Or to stop the massacre of Palestinian people.
Why? Because I disagree with what's going on in Palestine, the Israeli occupation. Why am I here? Well, to support Gaza, obviously. I think that Israel needs to get out of Palestine.
We're here specifically to make sure that the world understands that there are Jewish people, and plenty of them, who don't agree with what Israel is doing. Completely opposed to this barbaric attack on Gaza, and we think peace is the only way forward.
I want an end to the Gaza conflict. To protest against the Israeli bombing of Gaza.
Support people in Palestine, and I oppose the British government shoring up the Israeli regime.
To support Palestinian people against Israel massacre.
I'm here to support peace in the Gaza Strip. I'm here today because I couldn't just sit back and see these horrible things happening. Where I'm here for Palestine, for freedom of Palestine. To protest on what's happening in Gaza. Because it's just an intolerable situation. It's just inhumane and it's dreadful.
To protest against people being killed in Gaza.
I'm here because I'm outraged by the attack on Gaza.
Brothers and sisters, we have here in Speaker's Quarter in Hyde Park on this day, the 10th of January, at least 100,000 people demonstrating for Gaza.
A set of seriously disturbing events have taken place in the city of Al Arish in the space of 24 hours. The Gaza aid convoy faces confusion and fear as it lies barricaded by police in two large car parks. Convoy members had complained of major difficulties with the Egyptian police from day one, but the latest developments have shocked everyone. It began on Sunday morning. The convoy was due to be at the Rafah crossing for noon, but the police and convoy organisers couldn't agree on how to proceed. The police wanted to break up the vehicles into small groups for the final stretch of 40 kilometres, but the convoy volunteers who've learned to distrust the authorities felt it may have been a ploy to sabotage the initiative. A standoff followed, and as patience ran out, some convoy members took their fate into their own hands and removed the police barricades blocking their vehicles. Chaos ensued as the police tried to regain control while the convoy drivers forced their way out and tried to make it to Rafah. Hundreds of riot police who had already been accompanying the convoy since it entered Egypt were sent in, and the bid for freedom turned into a bloody street battle. Meanwhile, Press TV, which had been trying to transmit the images, found its outside broadcast vehicle, which has been accompanying the convoy, had been sabotaged. As convoy leaders calmed tensions, the police moved more large barricades into place and again blocked the vehicles into the two car parks. But it was after darkness fell that things started to get really disturbing. A group of unidentified men attacked the convoy with bricks and stones, while the police apparently stood by and watched. This was accompanied with a power cut, which disabled all street lighting in the area.
They outnumbered us. That's when obviously I ran up and I came and said, look, we are under attack here. By the time we got back there, obviously we overpowered them. We managed to move them out. And then as reinforcements on their side were coming, the police were stood there and they were coming from around the police, and the police did nothing.
Police in the vicinity have refused to comment, other than insist their extremely heavy presence remains for the convoy's own security, a statement that has been derided by those blocked in.
But the only thing that matters to me now is the safety of our people, and the safety of our vehicles and what's in them. So we are now in a situation where we are blocked from leaving here. The police are everywhere, hundreds of police, but they haven't been able to stop one vehicle being damaged and one person being injured.
Convoy organisers say they are now determined to leave Al Arish as soon as possible and make another attempt at reaching the Rafah crossing. But as today has proved, very little is certain. Hassan Ghani, Press TV, Al Arish.